Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brian and Patti podcast.
No, it's the Patti and Brian podcast.
And today we're going to share a story that, well, it's not easy to tell, but it's one that needs telling because it's about faith, fear, and the thin line between life and death. Patti, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
By 2009, Patti and I had been together for 23 years. We dated, married on Valentine's Day 1988. A year and a half later, we had our son Marcus. We built a life. Both of us worked in healthcare. Patti was an incredible caregiver, not just to her patients, but to me and Marcus. She's the kind of person who never complains. That's what made what happened in 2009 so terrifying. Because when Patti started saying something was wrong, I knew it was serious. It started small, extreme tiredness, abdominal pain. At first, we both thought normal monthly stuff. But Patti, you tell them what happened next.
Each month it got worse. The cramping became unbearable. I'd get nauseous, bloated. The pain was so intense that I had to leave work early. And you know me, I never miss work. I started calling off. That's when Brian really got worried.
Worried is putting it mildly. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. We were at a mall near Cincinnati. That's about 2 hours from home. We're walking around, just shopping, and suddenly, Patti just collapsed. I mean, literally, I had to catch her before she hit the floor. That was the moment everything changed. We drove straight home, and I'm breaking probably every speed limit. We got an emergency appointment with her doctor, and he immediately referred her to a women's health specialist. They ordered an MRI, x-rays, the whole 9 yards. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I tried to keep a positive attitude. I really did. I put on my brave face. Because Patti is too good, too pure, too godly for anything bad to happen to her. That's what I kept telling myself. But here's the irony. At this exact moment in our lives, I had just started a new job. My first week as a hospice case manager in Columbus. I was working with people who had 6 months or less to live. 6 months or less. And I'm supposed to be giving them hope while I'm terrified about my own wife. So, I'm in the middle of training with my preceptor, learning the ropes, and my phone rings. It's Patti. And when your spouse calls you at work, out of the blue, your heart stops.
I told him the specialist office had called. They've cleared their schedule to see me right away, same day.
When she said that, my heart just melted. All that brave front I'd been putting up, just gone. I told my preceptor I had to leave immediately. She was wonderful about it, and I cried all the way home. That's a 45-minute drive that felt like forever. I wish I could tell you I was filled with faith and positivity, but I wasn't. I was terrified. Patti knows this about me better than anyone else. I'm a negative Nelly, a worst-case scenario person. My mind was already racing to the darkest places.
He really is. I usually have to protect him from himself.
It's true, which is why I insisted on going to the appointment with her. I had to hear it myself, because Patti, bless her heart, has this way of sugarcoating things to protect me. The doctor was serious, no nonsense. She looked at us and said Patti had a suspicious growth the size of a grapefruit on her ovary. A grapefruit. The labs showed elevated cancer markers, consistent with a tumor. I remember looking at Patti sitting on that examination table. She was pale, but somehow so beautiful and bright. And she was being brave, braver than me. They referred her to a surgeon. Now I had to keep working every single day. I'm with hospice patients, talking about death and dying, trying to be positive and professional. And my preceptor, she had just lost her significant other to cancer. She talked about it constantly when we drove to see clients. In hindsight, she was an angel. I could talk to her about what we were going through, and we're still friends today. And then came the surgeon consultation. This guy was serious, with a capital S. He gave it to us straight, no varnish. He laid out the scenario, which is what surgeons do, but man, it was hard to hear.
He told us he wouldn't know what he'd find until he was in there operating, that I might have a colostomy, that the surgery would be over 2 hours long.
He said she might need blood, that she could die during surgery. That's when it got as dark as it possibly could get. But you know who was amazing during all this? My dad. We didn't tell a lot of family members, but we told our dad. He was in his later years by 2009, but when we told him what was happening, he became steely-eyed, determined. He had his church pray for Patti. He visited more. His close friend, Josephine, became a constant source of prayer and support. We could actually feel their faith and prayers surrounding us.
They were incredible. The whole family rallied around us.
The day of surgery finally came. Marcus, who never gets into a car, he came with us as I drove Patti to Riverside Hospital in Columbus. Dad and Josephine met us there, and Patti's sister-in-law, Irene, drove over 60 miles to be there. Irene, she's a prayer warrior. She's lost so many family members to disease. She knew what we were facing. I took a picture of Patti in her hospital bed right before they wheeled her into surgery. I must have looked at that photo 1,000 times. Her beautiful face, her smile. I kept thinking, what if I never see that smile again? And this wasn't our first brush with death. Back when Patti was close to having Marcus in 1989, she went into a toxic pregnancy. Her blood pressure was sky high. The pediatrician gave us a very bad prognosis, but somehow Patti and the baby pulled through. That was our first miracle. Now, here we were again. Could I really ask God for another miracle?
Tell them what Irene said about you in the waiting room.
Irene told Patti that I was pacing up and down like a caged lion while she was in surgery. I don't even remember doing that. But yeah, I was a warrior, not a warrior. Irene was the warrior. The surgery was supposed to be 2 hours. It went almost 3 hours. I felt like I had 1 foot on earth and 1 foot in hell. And finally, they let us see her in post-op that evening. And the surgeon came in with the news.
The grapefruit-sized tumor. It wasn't cancer.
It was a massive ball of blood, layers and layers of internal bleeding that had accumulated like a ball of twine. It had formed these adhesions that wrapped around her ovaries. The surgeon called them fingers of death, but they weren't the C word. Her body had treated the mass as a cancer, which is why the markers were elevated. It was a false positive, but to us, it was a real positive and a real miracle.
No colostomy, no cancer, no major issues, just time to heal and get stronger.
2 life or death struggles in our family. Marcus in 1989, Patti in 2009. And God's hand was on both of them. Healing, mercy, grace. And looking back, I now realize that whole experience taught us so much about prayer, about faith, and about how fragile life really is, and about family.
It taught me that even negative Nellies can love fearlessly. Brian might think the worst, but he showed up every single time. He was there.
Yeah, I was there, pacing like a caged lion, apparently. But I've learned something important. You don't have to have perfect faith to receive perfect grace. You just have to show up. And maybe stop pacing so much.
The pacing was actually kind of sweet, in a frantic, worried sort of way.
See, this is why I married her. She finds my neurotic tendencies sweet. But seriously, folks, that year changed us. It made us more grateful for every single day, more aware that tomorrow isn't guaranteed, more committed to living fully, loving deeply, and trusting God, even when we can't see the outcome. Because here's the truth. When you're sitting in that waiting room, when your whole world is hanging in the balance, you realize what really matters. It's not the career. It's not the house. It's not any of the stuff we stress about day to day. It's the people you love. It's the moments you share. It's the prayers you pray together. It's having a dad who gets steely-eyed and rallies his church. It's having a sister-in-law who drives 60 miles to pace the halls with you. Well, to watch you pace the halls.
And it's having a husband who cries all the way home from work because he loves you that much.
Yeah, there's that. You know, I spent that entire year working with people at the end of their life. Every day, I'd sit with families who were saying goodbye. And every day, I'd come home and hold Patti a little tighter, because I knew how close we came, how easily it could have been us. But it wasn't. God had other plans, better plans, plans that included more birthdays, more holidays, more ordinary moments that now feel absolutely extraordinary.
Podcast and more podcasts with my negative Nelly hubby.
Yes, more podcasts. Who would have thought? Back in 2009, we were just trying to survive. Now we're here, telling our story, hoping it helps someone else who's going through their own dark valley. Because here's what we want you to know. If you're in that valley right now, if you're waiting for test results or sitting in a hospital waiting room or trying to be brave when you're terrified inside, you're not alone. It's okay to pace like a caged lion. It's okay to cry on the drive home. It's okay to be a negative Nelly sometimes. What matters is that you don't give up, that you keep showing up, that you surround yourself with prayer warriors like Irene and Josephine, that you let people love you through the fear.
And that you trust in God's healing touch, even when everything looks dark, especially when everything looks dark.
17 years later, Patti's here. She's healthy. She's strong. She still takes care of everyone around her. And I'm still probably worrying too much about stuff that doesn't matter. But we're here, together. That's the miracle. Not just that she survived the surgery, but that we keep building this life together, one day at a time, one podcast at a time.
One caged lion pace at a time.
Okay, I'm never going to live that down.
Never.
Fair enough. So, folks, that's our story. A story of fear and faith, of doctors and divine intervention, of negative Nellies and prayer warriors, of grapefruit-sized tumors and God-sized miracles. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Patti and Brian podcast. If this story touched your heart, if you've been through something similar, or if you're going through it right now, we'd love to hear from you.
Remember, you're not alone, and miracles still happen.
They really do. We're living proof. Until next time, take care of each other, pray harder, and maybe try to pace a little less.
God bless you all.